And we're live. What is going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading in Morning. I hope you're well and doing great today. Getting ready here to kick it off with our live session here in New York. Welcome all those joining us on the replay. Everyone joining us live now, good morning. Hope you're well. We have a central bank story today. We have 9 o'clock a.m. We had ECB, Christine Lagarde speak, followed by Powell testifying. That begins in just 1 minute. He's already released some comments. They're over here. I saw them on Forex Live. There we go. We have the release. Powell said basically that right now they're monitoring the coronavirus situation closely, that it's possible it could lead to some spillover into the U.S. economy, but that things would have to substantially change in order for the U.S. policy to also change. So they're not looking to necessarily cut rates anytime soon. We have markets trading up at all-time highs. Let's see how they're doing this morning. Looks like they're gapping up again to new all-time highs. We got the not the Dow. Okay, the Dow's playing catch up here. And Nasdaq, does that say that it's up 1.25%, or is that yesterday's trading? That must be yesterday's trading. Let's see where it opens up in a little bit. Is that pre-market data? I'm not sure. We'll find out in about half hour when equities open. Nima, Tico, Blair, good morning. Heath, first one in. What's going on? First comment. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's see how the markets are reacting. I noticed that Bitcoin was came back down into this area over here and seems so far to be stabilizing a little bit. I would not be surprised to see it pull back in at least to 94, or even 91 over here would be extremely healthy as well. Is it possible this keeps getting away? Bitcoin does what Bitcoin does. Gold remains bid also, not bid, but it's definitely consolidating near the highs of the week, which is pretty bullish for gold. Still, again, I thought it was going to come up much more overnight, and it didn't. DXY is up a little bit again. Euro is a little bit all over the place this morning, in a very narrow range, about 20 pips. It has went out and ahead to this resistance overnight. I should really change these over here. And then backed off, took out yesterday's low, making a new low. And then right now it's not doing much of anything whatsoever. We have the US dollar and Japanese yen also both just consolidating in this area between this, which is support, and this big 5-year trend line resistance. It looks like it's getting ready for a break one way or the other. Is she going to finally break through and out? A lot of traders will be on top of that. The dollar has been so strong, is up near some resistance, but more importantly, a lot of pairs are now at pretty strong resistance levels. So let's keep going. So the question is here, what's going to happen on the US dollar, Japanese yen? And I don't know. So as far as the whole situation, it seems like we have a bit of, well, I don't want to say risk on, but we had Australian dollar appreciating overnight, outperforming everything. An arrow on the 4-hour kind of nailed that trade. I hope he profited from it. I know that he tends to get out very quickly, so I'm not sure if he stuck with the trade on the 4-hour, but beautiful trade. Actually, I don't have the chart. Yeah, I do. Let's take a look at it really quick. I have to pause 1 second. Excuse me. All right, I'm back. Appreciate that, and I do apologize. And follow the flow of here. What's going on? Steve Altra, great to see you. Good morning. All right, so where are they taking her this morning? Um, where is the focus rather, should I say? Australian dollar's definitely been strong. Like I said, we were seeing that bit of risk on overnight. Japanese yen definitely off a little bit. Um, we've had one more case in the US, but things there are not really escalating, and that's great news. They had over 300 people who are quarantined coming back from Wuhan, who none of them tested positive for the virus coming out of their quarantine now, 14-day quarantine. That's all really good news. One new case in San Diego. So right now, I think we have the Chinese liquidity from the central bank over in China kind of helping things out. I don't think it's going to be long lasting. I think that damage has been done, and I am still waiting for a to see if we get the next wave of increase worldwide in the virus, bringing on a new bout of risk off. But we right now we have Japanese yen pairs definitely coming off. This looks nice, interesting to me still. The US dollar, Swiss franc. It looks like the dollar is getting ready to take a breather. We have the US dollar, Swiss franc into this resistance over here. It did make a lower low over during London. I was not tracking it. And it's perfectly set up right over here. I'm going to be watching this now for an entry. We had two, two tests to the downside already. So let's see if third's the charm. This one is definitely a pair that I'm looking to track. And let's see. I gotta get my colors straight. All right, Euro's trying to stabilize here. Again, it's in a very, very, very narrow range. We've gotten now Powell and Lagarde out of the way. Let's see if that has any effect. Let's find out where the place to pounce is going to be. Here we go. We got the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, and you can see the Australian dollar breaking out of this reverse head and shoulders pattern here. This looks pretty great. I think if you make a higher high than that price bar, that down price bar, testing that neckline, that gets green lighted for myself. So that's interesting. I want to take this all in. I might pause in a second to play some waters there. Euro, Swiss franc. It looks like it's it looks like she's definitely trying to put her in the bottom here. It's not a trade that I would take to the upside. Clearly, the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, looks like a better setup. So I'm focused over there. I think that the Australian dollar that's come up hard and fast has, as long as this little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a risk environment goes on, has room to move. Euro, Australian dollar, coming into this important line over here, this important area of support. Again, I said as long as we're above it, we're bullish. We get below it, we're definitely turned bearish. But I think it's something to watch right now. I don't think it's in play. I think right now this is definitely in play, the Australian dollar, Swiss franc. All right, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar coming off a little bit here. Stepping back. You can see the support that is held. Let me draw that in. It's an important area that should be in here. And coming off it, looks good also. This looks good also. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. It looks like this is a day for some trades. Let's take it out. Let's look at it, Heath. Swiss franc, Japanese yen. Oh yeah, this one also broke down over the neckline over here. All right. This does look good also. I see weakness in the Swiss franc at some against various pairs. Although I have to say, and I have to be picky and choosy about my trades, that I prefer the Australian dollar Swiss franc in this case, and reason being because right now I'm seeing also weakness in the yen, and if I'm seeing weakness in the yen and Swiss franc in this moment right now, this is two weak pairs. We've gone from two strong pairs to two weak pairs. Nevertheless, I think I want to stay with the momentum, but it does look like a good trade. And for learning purposes, I'm going to keep this one in view and watch how it develops and how it happens. So I was taking a moment to soak that in. Um, and the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen again. Huh. These two are just fighting it out. Something to watch. Euro Australian dollar has definitely a tilt towards the Australian dollar, but we're towards this critical level right now as well. Looks like it could give way. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Compared to the rest of the pairs, the Canadian dollar has continues to make the least amount of gains off the Japanese yen. The Canadian dollar is in a pretty precarious situation. Overall, the currency itself, I think, is in a bear flag. Not this pair, the Canadian dollar itself. And let's see what develops there. I think we have to look out for the next time we have retail data out of Canada. If that comes in soft, the central bank's going to be talking about a rate cut, and then that could really slip. This looks very bullish here. The British pound, Japanese yen coming back over and taking out this resistance over here. You could see that we came down and made a higher low over here. So this looks pretty bullish. Australian dollar, Japanese yen continues to come off. We got two now, higher lows as well. Let's see if we could come back up and test this very important area of 74.40 around there. Let's throw something in there. Euro, New Zealand dollar. This looks a lot more bullish towards the euro than the euro Australian dollar. Right, the euro Australian dollar looks like it's in a little bit of jeopardy of losing this support over here, while the euro New Zealand dollar looks pretty bullish to the upside. So interesting. Pound New Zealand dollar. Pound looks like she's hanging in there doing all right. Obviously, the trade occurred down here. There's nothing to even think about or worry about over there. Aussie is on fire against everyone, it seems, today. Um, Again, let me just check out this Australian dollar Swiss franc is already up a 0.5% on the day, but it's definitely breaking out here to the upside. We have a double top to work past over there. Um, looks good. Looks pretty good. All right then. Hey, thank you too, man. I'm so happy to be here today. Um, and by the way, I think you guys are all the best, and I feel very blessed to be able to share this time with you. I want to go ahead and just give me a moment. I want to put this symbol up into my live account here. All right, let's keep going. Australian dollar, US dollar again. Hanero nailed the bottom over there. I took a look at it yesterday. It paid well for me. I did get out this morning though. And so I often talk about being too cute with your take profits and stop loss. I had my stop loss about a half a pip higher than this move up overnight during London. And obviously now price is coming back and looks like it's going to even make new highs over here. But just be aware, sometimes a lot of us are too precise with not only our stop losses. If you find yourself getting stopped out by a pip or two, and then price going in the other way, you know where to put your stop loss. You're just putting it too precise. And same thing on the take profits. MHB, Martine, welcome. Oh, by the way, very important since everyone seems to be here. I'm gonna just put my email address into the chat over here. Go ahead and email me your hold on. Go ahead and email me your username from chat so I recognize it. I'll show you why right now. We're going to be setting up this this platform for community chat. We had 59 votes, and Telegram was the clear winner. So we're going to go with Telegram. I'm going to be setting up a chat for us who are here day in and day out to participate and be able to work together there outside of our streaming. So go ahead and let me put my email in. Go ahead and send an email and with your username as the subject or in the body of the email. We also have let's see, at 10:30 we have Carney speaking, Bullard speaking later on. We got like central bank day ahead of us, but the two big ones are out of the way. Here comes the Australian dollar looking to make the highs of the day right now. Ooh, we haven't looked at the US dollar, Canadian dollar today. I want to get back to that. Here I'm on the 4-hour. So yeah, so this makes sense with the dollar coming off a little bit this morning. That the Canadian dollar is also coming off. This does remain in a very strong uptrend. I'm not definitely trying to pick a top here, and if you're trying to pick a bottom or pick a top, the Australian dollar is leading. So if we look at the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, obviously we'll see the Australian dollar leading over here. Look, I don't know if we break down over here. I guess towards this support we have to look, right? This area of support between 98.52, 98.39. In that pocket is the first place, and then I'm down over here at 98. So in the US dollar, Canadian dollar, instead of looking to catch the top over here, this it's not really appreciating much versus the dollar. We could look into these areas of support to try to see if it holds and get long the dollar versus the Canadian dollar. I don't know. It does appear now that this is a turning point in the dollar this morning, happening right now. I don't know how long this will last, or if this will be. I don't know if this will be a short-term sell-off or something that leads to something more substantial. It's too soon to tell. I have absolutely no idea. But nevertheless, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. Just be careful on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. That's all I'm trying to say. I do notice that the Canadian dollar is also the weakest versus the Japanese yen. I do see weakness overall in the Canadian dollar. And again, if they start talking about a rate cut in the coming weeks, it's going to really depreciate. So Just heads up. Awesome, Nick. I appreciate that. That's good. DJ initiated it. He didn't want to use he wanted to use Discord, and we decided we'll take a vote and see what everyone else wants to do. And unfortunately, it was a pretty strong result for Telegram, which I'm happy about. It's really easy to use, on your mobile phone or on your desktop. DJ, I'm so sorry. All right, let's keep it going. So this other chart, I don't think that this is necessarily correct. I was looking at this on Twitter yesterday, and not that I want to. The reason I'm looking at this here with you right now is not necessarily because of this neckline, which I think is kind of arbitrary. I don't. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. But what I want to look at is you could see price moving these last 2 years in these very small, narrow ranges. Just step back and look at these times. You have pretty. This was obviously we had the central bank step in, so this was very abnormal. But FX price could get away from you, right? And if you go back down to 2008, you would see a move similar to this as well. But over here, even still, you have 1,000 pip move. You have a 1,500 pip move that came rather quickly. Look over here, 1,000 pip move came very quickly. So just be aware, we out of this period of long consolidation, short average ranges, daily ranges, what happens next is price could open up. So just be aware of that. That's what I wanted to share with you. So again, and I'm going to remind you throughout the session today to go ahead and send your username to the email info@jcl.capital, and because it's not going to be public. It's not going to be public, and just allowing people in all the time. That's for sure. I just want all of us who are here every day inside of it. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. We have later today the central bank meeting, coming off of the support over here. If you're in that trade long, then you have a freebie going into tonight's central bank. So that's good, but make sure you do either take profits or move your stop to break even ahead of that later today. Just so you don't get caught on the wrong side. But that looks awesome right now. By the way, Gabe, anyone else who saw the updates last night on TradingView, which format do you prefer? Which format do you prefer for those updates? The small video, which I think we did for the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, or the just the photos of the chart itself? I'm interested to know that. If anyone has any feedback on that, that would be helpful. The euro's lagging the Australian dollar, which is making new highs on the day, but the euro is just a few pips off that. It looks like ever since the central bank speakers got out of the way, that the dollar is coming off a little bit. You can see that here the Australian dollar is definitely took out the high of London over here now. Yeah, it's coming up into some resistance over here, right? You can see this horizontal resistance. We have this trend line. This is light. This trend line resistance. You could see it in play over here, though. You could see it in play over there. So I'm going to keep that in the chart. You have an area of resistance into it, but we seem to have some momentum. All right. I think we're going to have to bring our focus up. All I'm not sure. I took profit, so I'm not holding that trade. Nice. That's a clear call for video then. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let me just check it out real quick as she's popping up over here. Um, let me take a back here. I want to look for where would be an area that I really would look to lean into sell. Right now, obviously, I see risk on in the market. I'm not looking to sell, but up here, let me make this one darker. All right, I do want to keep an eye on that area, and then we have up here, all the way up here. President Xi was making the rounds throughout China yesterday, showing his face for the first time in public since the breakout, and he was pretty clear that there's a long battle ahead, and definitely all our thoughts and prayers go out to all the people in China who are suffering. We have Peter in our group who lives out in Shanghai, and I've been praying for him and his wife every day. Oh, that's a good idea. I wonder you got wrecked if like if an update to a live idea would be beneficial. For example, there was a video done on the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen yesterday, and then today, kind of updating everyone, alerting them, before the central bank, be aware, lock in your position. Maybe just an update with a photo would do. So it seems pretty good idea. We got, I can just tell when price slows down. 2 minutes now to the markets open. The markets are opening up enormous again. There is, I think, Real Vision is offering a promotion of a month, 30 days for a $1 trial. Obviously, you could cancel anytime you want, and they have, starting a few days from now, they're having a series on retirement and the pension crisis. Looks very interesting. I recommend it to all. I also saw a video today on how liquidity drives the equity markets, and how right now we have the Fed, the ECB, and the Central Bank of China all easing, driving this run here. And it seems pretty worthwhile to take that trial if anyone's interested. You hear us looping? Does anyone else hear us looping? Keith, are you hearing my voice loop? Riyadh, good morning. Good morning. Definitely looks like an exciting time today with the dollar finally coming off. Again, be careful about counter trend trades, but you do see a little bit of momentum here in the Australian dollar this morning. I'm looking at the Australian dollar Swiss franc right here, breaking out of this neckline of this reverse head and shoulders. Not only breaking out after it broke out overnight during London, came back in, tested, look at this, tested this broken resistance. It held as support, and then through to break out the neckline, and now on this price bar right now over the last 15 minutes, making a higher high. So that looks like a good entry, with the first area to look is into this resistance over here, to see whether or not to take profits or lock in the stop loss. Ooh, we have not even looked at the pound US dollar this morning, although the pound Japanese yen looks quite bullish, taking out that resistance level. And here you have the before we go to the pound US dollar, let me look at the pound Japanese yen. You can see that we took out this resistance here, or taking it out right now. It looks like there's a lot of momentum behind it. And then you see on the pound US dollar that she's coming up into that resistance over here, this important support that broke, tested, came back down, and now we're testing into it again. And get back above it, and definitely things are looking much better for the pound, much better. But the pound Japanese yen, with that yen weakness, is definitely leading the way. A test of resistance. We got what appears to be a weak dollar this morning, but then again, every weakness in the dollar, let's just look at like a 1 hour time frame. Every weakness of the dollar has been bought up really quick. So does this it appears this time is different, but it remains to be proven. All right. So what looks like the leaders today is Australian dollar, weakness on Japanese yen, some weakness coming in on the US dollar. We got the British pound looking pretty good. New Zealand dollar also looking pretty strong here. A long way to go up into the nearest resistances. Let me look at the 8 hour. Yep, she's got a little way to go over here. She's got a lot of work to do, though. She does have a lot of work to do on the upside. Does the Australian dollar look as bad as the New Zealand dollar? Also, lots of work to do. Again, I'm looking here. Although this appears that what the environment we have right now in the market, which to me seems to be like definitely a little bit of dollar weakness, definitely seeing yen weakness, and we're seeing that little push along the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, British pound, euro, maybe still lagging a little bit. I think it looks like this move might last, for how long, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping and looking uh, for that risk off to come into the market again. And I'll just be looking at higher levels here to take advantage of that. All right. Markets look like they're holding their gains so far on the open. Again, S&P trading at all-time highs. Dow's lagging by a little bit. NASDAQ, look at this gap over here. Held it, the all-time highs, gapping again. Tesla looks like it's had enough. I think the New Zealand dollar must be having its way with the Canadian dollar. And yes, this looks very good. Very great trade over here. This looks awesome coming off of that support over there. And definitely New Zealand dollar has the edge. Good eye, Gabe. Really good eye. Really good trade. Yep. Email me your username from chat, because I obviously will recognize those who are here all the time and participate. All right. Dollar stalling out a little bit as we get the feel for the open in here. Let's see if this momentum continues, or whether or not the dollar gets bought back up really quick again. Always be aware for the other side of your trade. Market looks great today. Oh, by the way, Martine, you're right that the pound US dollar is testing into this resistance over here. And of course you want to be aware for this resistance holding. And this is like a blue box. You have these two resistance above you over here. But again, the dollar just for 6 days in a row, it's been straight up. Eventually, it's got to take a little bit of a breather. So I would not be surprised to see this lower one at least taken out. Watch into this resistance over here if that's the case. Just look at the daily time frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lots of pairs against the dollar at our important support and resistances. It would be kind of, even if the dollar move continues, it would be healthy for it just to peel back a little bit, right? Otherwise, if it keeps going up this high and hard, it's going to come off even much faster. Yeah, good point, and great mindset, Martine, for real. Gold has been holding up. Again, to be honest, I thought overnight it was time to take profits on gold, and it only came off a little bit, and so far it's doing its thing again. Bitcoin looks super good, super healthy. Let me go ahead and Bitcoin, again, let's even just take a daily time frame over here, and then I'm going to go to something more important to show you. Bitcoin is this is the last swing trade we took, was all the way down here into this support. We took that entry and I took the profits over here. Now, I think that was for a swing trade. I think what you want to be doing here on Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you why right now. I know most of you are familiar with this, and that's good. I really want you to be familiar with this. You just want to be right now looking to accumulate Bitcoin, not so much swing trade it. Focus in on the currencies, the FX currencies, for your normal swing trades over here. You want to be looking to buy off of any supports, test the support you can right now in Bitcoin, looking to accumulate a position into Bitcoin, not trading it. I'm going to show you why. Let's see. I just want to pull up one chart here for you. This is it. This is your game plan. We're right here now in this yellow box, this reaccumulation zone. We're right here. We have 4 months to the halving. This is the halving. And then whether it's 2 or 3 months after the halving, the next bull run should be upon us. Look at the type of appreciation that happens at a few months out of the halving. And right now in this area, take the deeper perspective. You're just looking to accumulate Bitcoin, looking to buy off any test of supports you can get. As long as we're above 8,500, 8,000 even, we're just super, super, super bullish there. And you're looking to buy any dips you can. Now, as we enter this bull mania phase, we'll be swing trading Bitcoin around our core position. You'll have that core position you build up over the next 4, 5, 6 months. And then you could swing trade during this, when you have these big moves where you can make some really good money on Bitcoin. And then your core position will just be appreciating, and it's quite possible 10x or more. Yeah, and so Iron Man, and again, for my thesis to be wrong, we got to break below 6,000. This black line here, this $6,000, 5,800, and then I would say, okay, I'm wrong about this. My thesis is wrong, but that doesn't look to be happening. I put out a video, if y'all remember, when there was a lot of fear in the market. Bitcoin was at 7,500 and dropping, and everyone was saying Bitcoin, was going down again to $1,000. I put out a video saying that $6,500 would be the low. It looks like I was off by about $15, right? We traded down to, or more, maybe about $80. But 6,500 was the low, and that's the low you're going to see. You'll never see that again. You'll never see that again. And a lot of people, it's a market. Everyone has their opinions. That's good. I know where I'm wrong, and then I could change my thesis. But of course, every halving, the same arguments that have come up the past 3 halvings come up, and we'll see. We'll see. I have my money on that. All right. Dollar now trading at its lows of the session. We saw a little bit of reversal, whereas right before Powell released his testimony, you saw here the dollar come up and take out the overnight highs, and then since now has a little bit of pressure on it. We'll see how far this move progresses. Euro coming into the overnight area now of resistance. It's got so much work to do. So Australian dollar eking out those new highs again, also into an area of a little bit of local resistance across the board right now. And what else are we all looking at today? Does anyone want to take a look at something that they're interested in trading right now? There seems to be a lot of opportunities. Looks like we're catching a turning point in the market. Not only is that wave coming in, it's coming in clean. That's a good question. So first things first, and right now, the euro-US dollar remains under strong pressure. All right, that's the first things first. Now, if it could regain this level over here, right around, we have this resistance at 1.0958. I think it's even a little bit lower. It could even be 10951. At that point, the bulls will have I don't say the bulls have momentum. The sellers will have lost their momentum. All right, and then there's a good chance that we come up and test somewhere close to this pocket over here, this pocket of resistance. And then what happens over there remains to be seen. So the first thing the buyers need to do is take a look towards this area. And if the buyers could get up here, for sure the sellers will have lost their momentum. And then there's a good chance the buyers could bring it back up to test this area over here. And then, you know, I can't even think further than that right now. I mean, it's a bit, I mean, Iron Man, it's totally awesome to have a open discussion about Bitcoin because people have obviously different opinions. But just to add my 2 cents into that is that any altcoins are kind of like testing grounds, and any tech that could be built into an altcoin could also at any point in time be built into Bitcoin. So there's no advantage there whatsoever. But no other altcoin, well, first of all, no other altcoin even competes with Bitcoin. There's not one altcoin that competes with Bitcoin. And if you're talking about a fork of Bitcoin, which most altcoins are to some degree a fork of Bitcoin in one way or another, they have, and no ERC20 token competes with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money. Bitcoin's competing with gold and the US dollar. Other altcoins have their serve their purposes. And then, you know, the only ones that really serve their purpose are maybe the privacy oriented ones, such as Monero or Dash. But this year, you know, you're looking for privacy features to be built into first Litecoin and then Bitcoin. So again, there's really no competitor to Bitcoin, and there's no other decentralized network with more computing power than all of Google servers, the largest decentralized network in the world, and that's where the value is. No, see, Facebook can't tank Bitcoin because, again, Facebook can't even launch a cryptocurrency without Mark Zuckerberg having to appear before the Senate. But there's no CEO of Bitcoin. No one could stop Bitcoin, and Facebook could be stopped easily. So the Facebook doesn't compete with Bitcoin. That's not decentralized. That's a centralized system where you have to trust a third party, and no one trusts Facebook. So even the people I know that were, I know a guy who actually was one of the first miners in Bitcoin, mining before anyone heard of Bitcoin. He actually has the IP addresses of where Satoshi was mining from. And he doesn't like what Bitcoin's become by any means, but he still owns Bitcoin because he knows what Bitcoin is. And even though this guy has created an altcoin that you know, you mine through hardware space. He's sent satellite transactions for it. He doesn't like the whole where Bitcoin has gone, but he still knows that Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Yeah. There's a famous story in 2013 about a massive sell wall that was placed on Bitcoin. It's kind of like Bitcoin lore, and it was taken out. So you have Cash App, Square. I have Square over here, Square company. This is run by Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter as well. He's CEO of both companies. They have the Cash App, and the amount of Bitcoin purchased every quarter is growing astronomically. They almost will account for all of the Bitcoin mined within the next year or so. Um, you know, you have Backed coming in, you have all institutions entering into Bitcoin now, and as it blows past $20,000 and then 50,000, they're all going to FOMO into Bitcoin. There is such a limited supply of Bitcoin that if Facebook were to go ahead and first of all purchase enough Bitcoin to be able to place a sell wall, they would, by purchasing that Bitcoin, enormously appreciate the price of Bitcoin. As in, any government that tried to accumulate Bitcoin too fast would enormously increase the price of Bitcoin. And then any, when they went to unload it and sell it, the selling pressure would be bought up. Or not. That's again, Australian dollar is definitely leading the way today. Let's look at the euro Australian dollar just so we can get a clear view. Breaking down below this important area. Again, below this area, we're definitely turning very bearish on this pair. The only question in my mind is how long this clean wave does last. Again, here on the euro, it's this area that we got to work our way towards, and then we could take a look to see if the buyers could wrestle control from the sellers. But below here, the sellers definitely still have momentum and control. Big shout out to again, everyone, thank you for taking the time to go ahead and hit that like button. First of all, it lets me know that you appreciate what's going on in here. Second of all, it does help the Google algorithm know that, hey, this is content that we should be showing to other people. So I do appreciate that. I want to thank you. And if you haven't already hit that like button, please go ahead and do so. Especially you, my brother, Iron Man, because again, all opinions are welcomed, and I'm always up for intelligent, level-headed discussions because I have made and formed my opinions, and the way I do that is by hearing the counter arguments from other people. So, discussion is what makes us stronger. Appreciate it, Martine. Thank you. Again, pound Japanese yen looks very strong, taking out that resistance over here. The yen is so weak today that even the weak dollar is outperforming the Japanese yen. This just, it's so hard to take it in real time. Again, this 5-year trend line over here, if it breaks to the upside and if the dollar starts breaking out, that's a trade that I want to be involved in. But right now, I don't know, right? I'm not taking it yet. I will wait for that break. That's something that I just want to keep watching. I do think if we get below this support over here, let's see what the dollar is able to do. Gold is now finally coming off a little bit. Again, I thought over here, this is where it was going to be coming off. It did come off, but again, they came right back in and bought it up. So watching it closely. Euro finally able to take out last night's high. And again, let's look at that closely. And so the trade's just getting started. Now, a lot of people, so this is, I mean, this is true for everyone, no matter who you are, right? We are very quick to take profits, right? And now, I don't know, I mean, if you've been trading long enough, you know that you've had trades where you just let get away from you, where you didn't honor your stop loss and you gave it some room and it got away with you, and then it got away with you, and then it really got away from you. but traders do not tend to do that to the upside, right? They tend to take profits pretty quickly when they see a trade in profit. That's a beast within your mind that you need to really attack and overcome. And the only way to do that is really by thinking about it. Now, if anyone has ever smoked cigarettes and quit, when I was younger, I smoked cigarettes, and the way that I was able to quit was talking myself into understanding how bad it was for me, right? The same thing with kids. I could tell my kids, hey, you got to eat, your vegetables, and they don't want to hear that nonsense. But if you tell them why they need to eat their vegetables and how good it is for them and the reasons that it's good for their body, then they're kind of like bite the bullet and eat their vegetables, right? So you have to really talk yourself into understanding why it's not good to take profits early and why you need to give the trade the chance to actually fall into profit. Now, here into this trade, you have the central bank meeting later today. They're expected to be on hold, but I have no idea what type of guidance they're going to be giving, and how that's going to affect price. I have zero idea. So before that central bank announces their rate statement, by the end of New York, you want to move your stop to break even, first of all, because you have a high risk news event there, right? But as far as take profits, the resistance is up here, is all the way up here, right? As you come into this area right here, and you can see this right here with these two little lows, and then over there you can see that support was like a little resistance, and that's where we are right now. Yeah, you're into a little bit of resistance here, right? But this is not the resistance. This is the resistance up here. This is just a low local resistance over here, and you're looking here for the first area to take profit, or maybe give it more room to up here, depending on what happens, but not take profit down here. The trade is just getting started. Better to get stopped out here at break even. I'm not sure where your entry was. I would think your entry is probably around 70.23. Is that correct? And why you don't want this trade to now turn around into a loss. You don't want to take profit unless you get up to here at the earliest. Pound yen looks like it's on fire right now for sure. It's got some momentum, and it took out an important resistance level right where your entry was that important resistance level. It's now taking out. So let me see. I think you have around 140, 330, as there's about 100 pips up. This is the place you need to be looking at first to see whether or not you're going to take profit or at around there, or see what how the trade develops. And again, you can't be too exact on your take profit levels. You can't try to hit it to the pip. Same thing with your stop loss. A lot of traders, including myself, sometimes are too precise with our levels there. Anita, thank you for the heads up. Reb, good morning. Sorry, Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look. And we have a strong Australian dollar today, and we have a strong Japanese yen. That's for sure. You could see I have this area up here at 74.38. That's the first resistance that I'm really looking at to see what's happening. You're coming into this light resistance right here, right now. You saw that also as we just looked at the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. It was towards that light local resistance. Obviously, this is a place to look at to see what's price going to do, but we got that momentum today. The momentum's pretty clear, and you want to give it that opportunity. It looks like there's a pretty solid chance we take out this level over here at 73.98. around that where we are right now. And this is one that I think I'd be looking more into. As I'd be looking to see if price gets rejected here, and this might be a place for me to look to establish a short. Um, of course, if this gets taken out, everything changes over here. But at this big resistance over here, uh, you know, I'd be surprised if this was the height of the coronavirus outbreak that we've seen, and we don't get some serious risk on. But right now, that's not happening. Right now, we definitely have a bit of a risk on today, not risk off. You can see these two higher lows, and the momentum here is to the upside on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. It looks like it's going to continue. I think this is the first area you need to take a look at, this resistance line up here at 74.38. For me, that would be looking then to see if that holds and sell into that. If or for anyone is long here, that's an area you want to look to take profit. So just another quick moment. Let me pull that up. Come back to it. The US equity is now up pretty big, half percentage point, all-time highs, killing it. Again, led by DJ, we looked to go ahead and initiate a chat that goes on with the solid group we have in here. So go ahead and take a moment today and send a message to this email. Send them moment. Take a moment. Send them an email with your username from here in the live stream, so that I could go ahead and add you to that chat group. New Zealand dollar, the US dollar, New Zealand dollar is hanging in there pretty well today. Looks like it's putting in the bottom. Um, this is where it gets interesting to me first. We got, I don't know why I have this line in here. On the way down, it blew right through. Let's see on the way up. If we run into a little bit of trouble, I'll leave it in here. But this one right here, this is an area of interest for me. It's got a lot of work to do. Like everything versus the US dollar has a lot of work to do. This is a big one. Let me make this one thick. Bright, at least. Right now, we have definitely some momentum towards the commodity currencies. Australian dollar leading the way, then New Zealand dollar. We have the pound strong today. We have the euro trying to firm up a little bit, licking its wounds, and the dollar is coming off a little bit. The yen's coming off more than the dollar, and the Australian dollar is leading the way. So you have the Australian dollar is the strongest pair, followed by the New Zealand dollar, then the pound, and the weakest pair is the Japanese yen, followed by the Swiss franc, and then the US dollar. So that's how you want to position yourself. I do like this Australian dollar, Swiss franc, which I took this morning. And you could see not only the reverse head and shoulders, the break of the neckline. After it broke the neckline, price came down and tested this broken resistance, which held as support. Price came back up, broke the neckline, and made out the previous high. So I'm looking all the way up here as my first area to see what I do with the trade, and I'll continue holding it, but I will move my stop in, and then if price gets rejected, I'll take profits there. That's weird, Dominic. Let me see. Dominic, I just had a couple of emails received since you said that, to that address, the info at jcl.capital. So check the spelling, copy and paste it. And then if you still have problems, let me know. Yeah, if you get bounced back again, I'll give you another way, or you could always private message me here also in TradingView. Just go ahead and send the message. You have to be following me to send the message, but then just hit, send the message there with your email. That will work as well. Whatever's easy. I'm flexible. All right, so just of note, gold is coming off with the dollar. The gold was gaining with the strong dollar, and now it's coming off with the strong dollar, with the weaker dollar. Just keep note of that. Again, there you go, Dominic. That came through. You gotta realize above this support over here at 1562 and above 1550 remains super bullish. But right now, for whatever reason, with the dollar coming off, gold is also coming off a little bit as well. Just be aware of our surroundings. Bill Boy, thank you. So DJ wants Discord, by the way. He he kind of initiated for a few weeks now, putting together a community chat, those that are active in our live stream all the time, as a place to connect outside of the live streams, share ideas. If you want to go ahead and be a part of that, obviously, Billboy, I recognize your name. People who have contributed to our live streams are absolutely welcome. We're gonna the vote was clear. 59 people chose Telegram, or out of 59 people, 80% chose Telegram. So it'll be on Telegram. If you want to be a part of that, just go ahead and send me your YouTube username to that email address, and I will include you. Yeah, I imagine the Australian dollar is leading the way. Canadian dollar is pretty weak. This looks beautiful. This looks, a lot of momentum is with the Australian dollar right now. I expect it's going to continue at least until we come up into this area of resistance above here. But as far as an entry and chasing it right now, it's already gotten away from you a little bit. So careful chasing price. We look to get into price as it resumes off of an area of interest. Let's also look at the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar at the same time. See, this one looks clean too and good. You could see that as price came down into the support and then made the higher high during London. That's a very clean textbook, perfect entry right there. And then now obviously you'd be holding that trade. But as far as entering up here, well, we don't ever chase price. So the entry is back down here when price off of a support area makes a higher high than the previous price bar. All right. So again, Canadian dollar looks like it's in a little bit of trouble. It's currently trading in a bear flag, and let's see what happens with the next retail data out of Canada. But Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar leading the way, and out of the two, the Australian dollar I assume is stronger today. See, this looks good. This looks good here. Looks like finally, and you guys have all known for months now, we've been talking about, is the Australian dollar putting in a bottom here versus the New Zealand dollar? We've watched it long develop, and here looks like the point of interest now. It looks like we got the breakout above this area, and we have the New Zealand central bank meeting today. That's got to get out of the way here before you can take an entry on this. There's no rush. There's time. Look how long it took the bottom. If it bottomed, look how long it took the bottom. It took 2-3 months. So there's no rush to jump into the trade. Let the high risk news event get out of the way. But let's come back and revisit this tomorrow and see what's developing. This looks like a possible opportunity to take a looks like we bottomed here. Yeah. So, well, 100%. Please do email me your now though. You could then join whenever you want. Um yeah, so the purpose though of the Telegram group though is it's not that you have to share ideas, but those of us in here who trade together will be able to also talk about what they're look as we normally do right here in the live stream. Same exact concept, but going on for throughout the day. But it's entirely up to you. And yes, but better to email me now, have the invitation, and then take it when you want it. So no, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar looks like, again, we've been watching this for months, since over here, since it broke out of this trend line, tested down here. We've been looking at this as a long-term bottoming process, and now that we've gotten above this resistance line here, the top of this blue box, it looks like the bottom is in place. I'm not going to run in here and buy it today because the New Zealand central bank is meeting later today, and I don't know how the New Zealand dollar is going to react off that. It's not, they're expected to be on hold with rates, but it's more about their forward guidance and what they say that's going to affect the currency. So I'm not going to jump into this trade, and especially after waiting for 3 months, I'm not in a rush. But I'm going to revisit this tomorrow morning with you all on the live stream, and we'll assess the situation there. But this looks like a long-term bottom could be put in. So I don't trade with correlation. But correlation is, for example, you know that these two pairs are correlated: the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar, and also to a degree the Canadian dollar. They're all commodity currencies. When there's weakness in one, there's usually weaknesses in the others. The same thing with the Swiss franc and the Japanese yen and the US dollar in risk off environments. Those are safe haven currencies, as well as gold. Now, the reason why correlation is not an issue for me is because why I look at about 20 different currency pairs and look for the best setup, when I find, probably 4 or 5 pairs that have potential for a setup, I then look, and here's a perfect example. I was looking at the US dollar, Swiss franc, right? This is coming into this resistance over here for us to resume downwards. And I was also looking at the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, coming out of this, head and shoulders, reverse head and shoulders. When I find, 4 or 5 pairs, I then narrow it down to one trade that I'll take. And I'm only taking, on average, 3 trades a week. So correlation is not a problem for me because I'm not taking, a trade long on the Australian dollar, US dollar, and a trade long on the New Zealand dollar and US dollar, because those two pairs are correlated. And by doing that, you're just basically leveling up your risk, right? So my type of trading, correlation doesn't really make a difference, but we are always talking about how pairs move together, where the strength and weakness is coming in. And generally speaking, the reason that when we see weakness, or today we're seeing strength in Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and then to a lesser extent Canadian dollar, because those pairs are correlated with each other, right? We're seeing the weakness come off a little bit in the US dollar, a little bit more so in the yen. So that's about all I need to add on the subject, because it's not really something that affects our trading. Everything looks like it's on autopilot right now. Looks like the current momentum we have has a good chance of continuing for the at least the immediate future. All right. Well, everything is kind of on in a pretty good situation this morning. Pretty clear. That's a really good question. Good evening, everyone. Am I the only one who's always afraid of being left off in a trade? I always lose patience, especially when I have to take trades at support and resistance levels. So it's a really good question, and I would be so happy to hear from anyone who has any insight into that as well. Someone who struggles with that and understands very well what what he's saying there. Um, and all, but the only thing that I want to add, and again, I'm more interested to hear if anyone has something they could offer there, is that it's always the hardest taking the trade into support or resistance. And again, this is not a trade that we did look. I looked at it. I showed you last night in the Trading View Telegram update this trade because it was at an important level. Uh, I didn't take this trade. Now, it's always the most difficult taking a trade into a support level because it looks like price is going down through it. The thing is you don't take the trade until price resumes back towards the direction that you should be taking the trade, which makes it easier. And then at that point, also your stop loss, you know where to put your stop loss, and it's well defined. And it's you always have a positive risk reward going into the trade. Those things are what help me take them. I understand psychological. It's tough taking the trade into the support because you think price is going down because it falls into support. But again, a couple of things. I trade off the higher time frame, the 8 hour. I wait for price to make a higher high off of the support. So it at least gives me that little bit of an edge that price is going now in my favor of the trade. And then I also know where my stop is right away. So it makes it a little bit easier. But it's a very good question and a very yeah, important awareness of what's going on. Well, then there you go. Just focus on one thing at a time and always focus on what's most important. In other words, before you get into fine tuning, you have to focus on what's the biggest error, and that's really simple. Then the first thing that you only need to focus on is never take the trade before you see the confirmation that price has resumed off it. And it's very simple. The time frame you're trading, price has to make when buying a higher high than the previous price bar or a lower low than when selling than the previous price bar. And that's just the first thing that you need to overcome and work on then, and that you'll see improvement right there. Yeah, I only take a handful of trades a day. I covered I think 4 different pairs last night. Um, and I was in a long Australian dollar US dollar trade that I took profits on this morning, and then I took this trade this morning here on the Australian dollar Swiss franc. So again, I'm only taking a few trades a week, and I'm just narrowing down out of where I see the setups. Then I'm just looking for to take one of those. So, and I was very interested in this one also. I just I didn't take it, and it still looks like a good trade as long as this holds over here, this resistance. Price starts making lower lows here again. This looks like a good trade. Um, but I think it's really important to just reinforce that I'm not looking to take a bunch of trades. I'm looking to take few trades. So I find where the setups are, and then I just narrow it down, and so I go with one. I don't know which one's going to work out ahead of time, but I just go with after layering enough different edges on top of each other. I go with the one that I think is going to work out the best. See if the dollar's just pausing here or if it's saying, all right, dollar dip buyers coming back. It's a little slow, so I want to check out the news feed here. It's not very promising. All right, I think actually today we're going to end this session early. I think everything is looking pretty good, pretty solid, pretty clear. And unless anyone has anything they would like to cover or discuss, I think that we'll just call this an early day. All right, and before we end, I just want to say thank you. You guys blew up the like button today, and I definitely appreciate you and that. That's a good question, Bill Boy. Um, why do I wait? Hold on, let me read the question. Yeah, so Bill Boy, keep it really easy and simple. I do my every week. I look at the daily time frame to get my overall feel going into the next week, and I set my support and resistance levels and trend lines off the daily time frame. All right, I always do that off the daily time frame. Sometimes even the weekly you need to go back to set some important support and trend lines, but off the daily time frame, and then during the week I'm down off the 8 hour time frame, and I'm looking to trade off the 8 hour time frame. I like the 8 hour time frame. I think it's the best to trade because it filters out a lot of market noise. On the 4 hour, you get a lot of noise, a lot of chip chop, back and forth. That the 8 hour is able to filter out a lot of that noise. Yeah, you could get more precise entries on the 1 and 4 hour, but it takes a lot more focus, a lot more attention, and you have a lot more noise to filter through. So it's actually more difficult. It's easier stepping back to the 8 hour. Not only that, I don't trade signals during the Asia time for period. They tend to be false signals, so I avoid it. So that leaves only 2 sessions a day, London and New York, where I need to focus on looking for signals on the 8 hour. It makes trading very easy. Trading has to be able to fit your lifestyle, right? 24-hour market trading a small time frame is difficult. So it works out well for me. So the reason I trade the 8 hour is because I just stick with what works. That's not to say if there was a time in the future where I realized that down on the 1 hour I found something that was working out better and for a specific reason, and also was able to fit into my lifestyle, then I would be all about it in a second. But you stick with what works, keep it simple. Trading is very complicated. Just keep it simple. Do I see a flash crash possibility on gold? No. If a flash crash is something like this, where we went down like $50, keep in mind we also came up, in a few day period, um, over $100, right? Or over here, you had from 72, $20. If you consider that a flash crash, you know, maybe, but it doesn't. I don't think you see those things coming ahead of time. Here, yes, because look, that's what I was saying. If the DXY comes up too hard too quick, breaking out over here, it's going to come down just as quick. We saw that happen on the pound Japanese yen back here as well. You know, after come up, volatility come back down. Gold seems to be trading pretty stable right now. So I don't expect any type of big movements because right now it's not making any big moves, right? It's not too volatile right now. It's consolidating here above this support. So I don't perceive anything that would give me any idea of a flash crash that's coming. And anything's always possible in the markets. All right, everyone. Have an awesome day. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow.